Deborah Cornwall with that report. How did 5 competitors in an ultra-marathon run into the path of a grass fire in the remote Kimberleys? One woman, Kate Sanderson, suffered horrific injuries and has spent the last 6 months in hospital. This week, the Western Australian government agreed to at least consider holding an inquiry. Josie Taylor reports.
I was running with a friend, Hal, and probably a couple of k's in, we looked up and there was a fire in the distance, and I wasn't really worried about it. It was so far away. That's why it's going to take a long time.
This is the first time Kate Sanderson has spoken publicly about the events of last September.
All of a sudden the fire was coming closer, and then I looked down and the fire was coming up the hill, and I had to make a decision. So I'll be running in front of the fire or go back down into this crevice, which is what I did. So I went back down, I got my long sleeve merino out, put it on, poured water over my head and got into the crevice. And I could just feel the heat way before the fire hit, and yeah, I just got in the crevice, but it lit my shoulder. So I didn't think, I just stood up to pat it out, and then the fire came in. And then I just thought, this is what it's like to die in a fire. And then I just started to run, and then I just fell.
Before September last year, the 36-year-old was getting ready for her latest challenge, a 100-kilometre ultra-marathon through the remote Kimberley region of Western Australia.
When you do a lot of the 100k or the ultra marathons and you finish them, you look for a harder challenge.
This footage was taken by event organisers, the international company Racing the Planet.
The start was maybe before 9 o'clock and it was already heading up to 30 degrees. It was really hot. Yeah, I only got to about checkpoint 2, and from checkpoint 2 is where the fire was.
Kate Sanderson and New South Wales woman Turia Pitt survived the fire but had burns to most of their bodies and needed immediate help. It didn't come.
We were trying to find where the roads were, or no one had mobile phones because we knew there was no coverage. You know, we had a whistle.
The small group of competitors was stranded in the blazing sun.
There was no shade, so we were getting like sunburn, you know, on the burns. And a few times helicopters came in the gorge and we thought we were going to be rescued. And it was just a horrible feeling when they left again.
Kate Sanderson says it was 3 or 4 hours before she was eventually airlifted to Kununurra. She was later flown to the Alfred Hospital in Melbourne. It's here that she's spent the last 6 months, including about 40 days in intensive care. Her hands are badly injured. 3 weeks ago, doctors had to amputate half her left foot.
I knew I was going to lose it and I would talk about it, but it's one thing to talk about, but to actually have it cut off. Yeah. Being told I'll never be able to run again, you know, it's hard. Yeah, I just hope prosthetics will come up with something.
The truth and the facts have to come out.
Kate Sanderson's brother Ian cannot understand why there hasn't been an independent inquiry into the events of September last year. The organisers of the ultramarathon Racing the Planet returned to Hong Kong. The Western Australian government sponsored the event, but has so far refused to investigate what went wrong.
They have a right to know what happened, when, who made what decisions and how that affected the outcome. My personal belief is there is absolutely no reason why anybody had to get caught in a bushfire. This was avoidable.
This week in the Western Australian Parliament, the state opposition called for an independent judicial inquiry into the Kimberley ultramarathon.
2 women's lives have been tragically wrecked.
The Western Australian Premier, Colin Barnett, says he'll consider a parliamentary inquiry, but has so far ruled out anything else. Racing the Planet's founder, Mary Kay Gaddams, denies her company is in any way responsible for the injuries suffered by competitors. Ms Gaddams competed in the Kimberley event and says she also suffered minor burns that day. In a statement, she says her company is one of the most highly regarded event organisers in the world. Racing the Planet was not warned of the risk that fires pose in the Kimberleys at that time of year. In the last few days, Kate Sanderson has returned to her Mornington Peninsula home. It's there she'll relearn how to live, work and hopefully run again.
I just want to know why I'm sitting here. I haven't been home in 6 months and the other girl is the same. You know, how can no one be held accountable or nothing be done?